Hi everyone, welcome back to the Forge. I'm very glad to have you. The steel rose is a very popular forging item made by many blacksmiths. And the first one I ever made was for my wife, who loves gardening. And since then I've sold quite a few. So today I'm going to show you how I make them. I'm starting off with a piece of sheet metal. This is 0.0 millimeters thick. Then I have these templates that I've printed out that I'm going to trace onto the sheet metal. As you can see, the templates have these numbers marked on them. This is important, and I have to keep track of that later, because the numbers represent the order they're going to go onto the stem when I assemble the rose. And if I get the order wrong, the rose is going to be ugly as sin, and I have to start over again. In addition to these petals, I like to do these leaves that go onto the stem of the rose. And these I just freehand, starting with the leaf, and the stem. And now for the tedious part, cutting these out. Now that all the pieces are cut out, it's time to grind down the edges so they get nice and smooth. I drilled 4mm holes in the petals, and this rod that's going to become the stem of the rose is 6mm. So now I have to grind down a bit to make the rod fit the holes, meanwhile giving us an edge so that the petals have something to sit against. Now it's time to start with the actual assembly of the rose. So I'm going to start off with this leaf bottom piece. Then I'm going to put a small tack weld in between each layer so that the rose will hold together nicely. Just small tacks like that. Then I have to grind them down a little bit with a file. When I assemble the rose, it's important that I overlap these, so later on when we fold up the petals, the rose won't have a bald spot. All the layers have been welded up now, so now we're finally at the fun part, starting to actually shape the rose. And to do that, I'm gonna heat up the rose, or all the petals, with just a regular barbecue propane burner. Since the material is so thin, we don't need to use the forge. Now that I closed the rose up, it's time to give some liveliness to the petals. So I'm gonna start by heating up the petals and go with these needle nose pliers and shape them the way I like it. When I'm shaping the petals, I deliberately try to make them look a bit different from each other, because if the petals look exactly the same, the rose is gonna feel kind of stale and look weird. You could play around with this for hours, but I'm actually happy with how it looks right now, so now I'm gonna start working on the stem. Now for the stem, roses aren't completely straight, so I'm just gonna take it into the vise like this and put a little bit of a bend up there, and then a little bend down there. And for the leaves here on the bottom, I'm gonna just heat them up and bend them down and curl them a bit. And just like I did with the petals, I don't want these to match each other completely, so make them a bit different. To create the leaf that's going to go onto the rose, I'm going to start off by texturing the leaf with a crosspin hammer, and then I'm going to hammer onto the stem itself until it rolls over and becomes round. I just went ahead and bent the stem of the leaf a little bit. So now all that's left to do is to weld it onto the stem of the rose, and then we give it a finish. And on this, I'm gonna put a bit of a heavier weld, and then I'm gonna grind it down to blend it in with the stem of the rose. And there we have it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.